Well, it appears that the Colorado Rockies have reverted to form here, down to 8-1 in the top half of the ninth inning to the Cincinnati Reds. Brenton Doyle up to bat right now in a 3-2 count. And I mean, barring a miracle, it is going to be another disappointing loss, another disappointing series for the Colorado Rockies, as the good times do not continue to roll despite you getting the win last night. And the Rockies almost lost that game last night. So I am not surprised whatsoever by the expected outcome of this game. The Rockies just lifeless once again on offense, reverting back to form there. And Austin Gomber, serviceable, fine. Bullpen just not getting the job done tonight. Molina was awful. Gomber not very good. And just par for the course for the Colorado Rockies at this point in the Major League Baseball season. So let's break it down with you guys right here on a Thursday day edition of the Locked On Rockies POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Rockies POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your Locked On Rockies postcast, and that is what I like to call perfect timing, as Jacob Stallings grounds into a double play to end the game. The Rockies unfortunately lose once again by a final score of 8-1. Just another non-competitive game from Colorado. I mean, it was what? Let's take a look here. 0-0 up until I want to say the third inning. So I guess it was competitive for 2 innings. And that's really all she wrote for the Rockies today, is, like I said, just the struggles continue. The saga continues. The ineptitude just continues to roll on with this Rockies club. And just more of the same, which is obviously disappointing for their fan base, obviously disappointing for the organization, the guys in the clubhouse and whatnot, because it has been anything but smooth sledding for the Rockies here as of late. So we'll see if they can, try to rally this weekend. They've got no off day in between this 4-game series with the Cincinnati Reds, as they'll be in New York taking on my New York Mets this weekend, who are still pretty hot, not as hot as they were, in the month of June, but still playing some pretty decent baseball. So we shall see what this weekend has in store for us. But today's episode of the Locked On Rockies postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rival cities. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. More from our friends over at Booking.com in just a minute. But let's just dive right into it, folks. I mean, 3 hits. You're not going to win many baseball games when you have a mere 3 hits. And that was the scenario for the Rockies today. I believe it was Michael Toglia. Let's confirm here real quick. Yep, Michael Toglia with the solo home run as the lone run of the day for the Rockies in this ball game. But why don't we just dive into the game flow here, take a look at how this game played out, how the Cincinnati Reds managed to jump out to a lead that they, quite frankly, never looked back on. So it started out rather quiet. Austin Gomber found himself in some trouble there in the bottom half of the first inning, but was able to work out of it. The Rockies went down in order. Tovar strikeout, Brendan Rodgers strikeout, and Ryan McMahon strikeout. So 3 strikeouts to start the game for the Rockies before the Reds got their first at bat of the day. And that actually, the Rockies strike out 3 times, and the Reds go ahead and get a leadoff walk with Jonathan India drawing that. Spencer Steer then hits a single to right field. He then proceeds to steal second base. And so you got a couple runners on here with no outs for Mr. Austin Gomber. And we've talked about it time and time again on this show, specifically after his starts, that the first inning has been his kryptonite. And look, I know he got hit and roughed up a little bit later on as the game went along. But, we've seen Gomber just absolutely blow up in the first innings of games this year. And obviously it didn't matter. He did get out of it in this situation. Nice to see him work through that, having a couple runners on, no outs, and giving up, not just limiting the damage, but giving up no damage. So I guess that's hopefully a sign of progress for Austin Gomber, because when you are getting down early, 3, 4, 5 runs in the first or second inning, I mean, it just takes all the wind out of your sails. That was not the case today, at least until the third inning, when the Cincinnati Reds started to pile on the runs. And I don't want to say that it was unlucky because all 3 runs in the bottom half of the 3rd inning came via a home run. So it's not like it was just, death by singles or walks or bad calls from the umpire. I mean, it was kind of a weaker home run, but at the end of the day, it was one long ball with 2 runners on base that ended up giving Cincinnati a lead that they would be able to hold for the rest of the game. So fast forwarding here to the 3rd inning, Jonathan India had himself a game. He hit a single to left field to lead off the inning there in the bottom of the 3rd. He advanced to second base on a fielding error from Sam Hilliard. And that's now 2 games in a row, maybe even more if memory serves me correctly. I know for a fact just 2 games in a row that Sam Hilliard's defense in the outfield has been a little suspect. Yesterday almost cost the Rockies the game with an inerrant throw to the, I forget if he hit the cutoff man or what it was, but the long story short, the tying run ended up on second base when it should have stayed on first base, thanks to the throw from Sam Hilliard in this instance. And then today, Jonathan India with a leadoff single to start the bottom of the 3rd inning advances to second on the fielding error from Sam Hilliard. And then Spencer Steer with a double as well, India to 3rd. Then Gomber's able to get an out on Hamir Candelario before Tyler Stevenson takes him deep. And that puts the Reds up 3-0. And as I've said, they did not look back from that moment on. And I'm going to watch it here real quick. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Hold on. Let me just barely managed to get out of the ballpark over that wall in right field. And I think it was on Monday's show after the game, or maybe it was Tuesday's show where we were talking about it. Great American Ballpark, is known to be a extremely hitter-friendly ballpark. And I think you saw some of the benefits, the rewards of that rather, paying off today for the Cincinnati Reds, specifically for Mr. Tyler Stevenson, as he hits a home run. That's probably not a home run in most other ballparks, but it is at a Great American Ballpark. So again, I don't want to say it's unlucky. It was a pitch that was well on the outside part of the plate. Probably would have been called the ball, if not a fringe strike. So a good piece of hitting going the other way from Tyler Stevenson. But this is why the Rockies are where they are. This is the reason why Austin Gomber's ERA is sitting at, 4.61 for the season. And it's instances like this, whether it's giving up the home run, giving up too many singles, the walk, lack of command. It's just there's been a whole wheel of reasons as to why Austin Gomber and the Rockies have struggled to win some games here in recent memory. And I think today, like I said, maybe one of the more unlucky outcomes for Austin Gomber, because it's not like he was just missing his spots completely. It was a good piece of hitting from Stevenson, but at the end of the day, results are results, and the results have not been good for the Rockies in general, but in particular for Austin Gomber as of late too. So, hopefully he can figure it out moving forward. I was very curious to see after the start from Kyle Freeland yesterday and the good win, if maybe that could have some momentum into this game. And like I said, if you're just looking at the box score, Gomber today, 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, not the best, but the eye test was a lot better than the box score would indicate. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses or justify Austin Gomber's start, but the curveball was working. Like I said, he managed to, dance out of some trouble, and outside of that 3rd inning, really did a pretty good job. Ended up giving up a little bit of he gave up a solo home run a little bit later on the game in the 4th inning. So the home run kills him today, but he actually looked all right for the most part. Didn't look as erratic or as rattled as we've seen Austin Gomber appear in games past. He's actually smiling. In the half inning after he gave up the 3-run home run, he put his hand on Jacob Stallings' shoulder and had a little bit of a smile on his face, or a chuckle, kind of laughing it off. We've seen Austin Gomber get heated and throw his glove and just be mad. And that was not the aura, the energy that we were getting from Austin Gomber today. But like I said, doesn't matter. It was a disappointing game from him and a disappointing game from the Rockies, as their lineup has just 3 hits total in this game. So after yesterday, where they had a dozen and they scored 6 runs, and you were feeling pretty good, and even coming out of the rain delay, on what would that have been, Tuesday's game, when they put up 4 runs, okay, offense come back to life. They crawl back into their hole and just turtle with 3 base hits today for the Colorado Rockies. But the final line for Gomber, as we said, he finishes with 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Did give up the 2 home runs, which proved to be just absolutely brutal and kill him at the end of the day in his start and in this game today for the Rockies. So, all right, let's hit a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. We'll dive into this Rockies lineup, man. Brent and Doyle didn't have a hit today. That's like the one guy, Tovar and Doyle, like the two guys that I'm like, okay, they had a hit. Like, so maybe I could, talk about that for a little bit. This was as bad as the Rockies offense has been all season. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of games that have felt like this one today. So let's hit a quick break. We'll come back and do just that, talking Colorado Rockies baseball and in particular their lineup right here on your Locked On Rockies postcast. All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Stitch Fix real quick, because that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. And with Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, your size, and your budget. They do all the shopping for you, and it's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. Again, you can easily upgrade your wardrobe with a professional stylist that helps you find new and on-trend favorites that will work just for you. Here's how it works. I just give my stylist my size, my style, and my budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want, no subscriptions required. I love that. And they send me 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and I just send back the rest. My stylist always sends me just the right pieces, and the fit is always on point. It's like they have a degree in this stuff, guys. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. I don't like to shop, and they save me that time and effort. Plus, I get outfits that make me look good and feel really good, too. And if you don't love something, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free over at Stitch Fix. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Now's the best time to get started with StitchFix.com/MLB and get $100 off. That's $25 off your first 4 fixes for a limited time only. That's StitchFix.com/MLB for $100 off. StitchFix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of signing up. Offer does not include kids' fixes. Be sure to check out our friends over at StitchFix.com/MLB and get your wardrobe together for this summer, folks. All right, and let me also tell you about our friends real quick over at Tax Network USA, because here on the Locked On Rockies postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round, and we get it. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because the IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property, don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon, and be sure to mention Locked On Rockies postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off of their services. Visit tnusa.com/lockedon or call 1-800-549-1000, and make sure to let them know that Locked On Rockies sent you. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this Thursday, July the 11th. And hey, if this is your first time watching a podcast, or a postcast rather, I should add, or maybe you've heard of it, but you don't know where to find it, make sure to subscribe to that Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel. That's where you're going to be able to find this Locked On Rockies postcast, as well as all of the other content that we are working on behind the scenes. So it's just the Rockies postcast for right now. But we've got plenty of stuff on the horizon. Remember, football's around the corner. Basketball's creeping up once again. So make sure to smash that subscribe button on the Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel as, we get started and continue to have some fun here on the channel with our friends over at Locked On Sports. And again, you can follow me on social media at Media by AP if your heart desires. I'm over there on the good old X and Instagram, so check me out over there at Media by AP. But okay, we spent a majority of the first segment kind of breaking down the game flow here. Austin Gomber, C-, I don't even know what you want to grade him today. But 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, like we said, 5 strikeouts for Mr. Gomber. And the Reds, the home run was working for them today. The double was working for them today. And, they ended up scoring some more runs there a little bit later on the ball game. We mentioned how Santiago Espinal had a solo shot there in the bottom of the 4th inning. That was against Austin Gomber. And then there in the top of the 5th inning, Michael Toglia, who's actually been pretty good for this team. It's probably been close to a month that he's been back playing with them on a semi-regular basis. Defensively, he's been great. The swing looks like it's coming together a little bit. And look, Toglia is a guy that's, been around the block with this Rockies organization for a minute. So they know the potential that this kid has. It's just a matter of, living up to it on a game in and game out basis. And today, at least he did his part with his 12th home run of the season. It was a home run to right field. That made the score 4-1 at the time before the Rockies went down pretty quiet after the fact there. And away we go. So let's fast forward here real quick to the 7th inning where the Cincinnati Reds started to pile on some more of the runs, because all of the runs here came in the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 7th inning. That's it for the Rockies, or that's it for the runs today. And, Jonathan India just staying hot. He led the game off with a walk. He had a double in his second at bat. And then here in the bottom of the 7th inning, a leadoff single to right field. Spencer Steer stays hot as well. He hits a single to center field. So back-to-back singles for the Cincinnati Reds to open up the bottom of the 7th. There was a fan interference call as well that made I don't really know how it was just a weird situation. What you need to know is Candelario then ripped a double, his 19th of the season, to right field. Jonathan India came around to score. Spencer Steer comes around to score. So that's how the Reds get an additional 2 runs in this ball game, is off of the bat of Candelario, who's been pretty good in this series for them. And then Tyler Stevenson, staying hot at the plate today as well. He adds his 10th home run of the season. This was a home run to left field. So what is that? I believe 3 home runs for the Cincinnati Reds in the game today. And, it's usually the Rockies get killed by the big home runs with multiple runners on base and the gap doubles and this and that. That was not the case today. It was just the long ball that really hurt them today, and just some unlucky pitching for the most part. I mean, let's take a look at the bullpen here real quick. Where are you, bullpen? There it is. Tyler Kinley, pretty clean inning, gave up 1 hit, struck out 1. His ERA is 8.05. My goodness. Molina is where things really came unraveled today for the Rockies. He came into this game. Anthony Molina did a little bit later on, and he didn't even pitch a full inning. He went 2/3 of an innings pitch. I always get confused. I always want to say an inning and 2/3. I don't know why it's like so 2/3 of an innings pitched. Ooh, I don't know why that's so hard for me to get out sometimes. And 5 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, no strikeouts, gave up the home run. His ERA is at 6.94. So again, to kind of talk about the pitching dynamic here, right? Like Austin Gomber wasn't necessarily great today, but it wasn't like he was dreadful. He managed to pitch, what did I say? 5 innings for Austin Gomber. And like I said, got kind of taxed by the home run there a couple of times, but outside of the home runs was actually pretty good. And so, you feel when Austin Gomber gets yanked out of the game, you're within a few runs and whatnot. Okay, maybe you got a chance to get back into this game. And Molina just comes in and wets the bed. 2/3 of innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. And we went from having a 3 or 4 run game to the Rockies losing by 7. And that's just how quickly it happens with this club right now, as they just continue to find ways to dig themselves into these holes. And it's like they dig these holes with no shovels or no ladders to get out, whatever. And, that's the other thing is, I could talk about how bad Molina was. I could talk about how unlucky Austin Gomber was all show if I wanted to. None of that matters if your team's only going to have 3 hits. None of it. You're not going to win on a consistent basis if you are you're not going to win games 2-1. You're not going to win games 1-0, especially when the pitching staff is as shaky as it has been. So, a mere 3 hits for the Rockies today. It's just so hard because, that's the frustrating part is, it's usually a pitching problem with this team. I mean, looking at the lineup today, the entire middle portion of their lineup was 0-4 today. I mean, Ezekiel Tovar had a base hit, and then it's Brendan Rodgers 0-4, Ryan McMahon 0-4, Shunk with the pitch hit 0-4. Brenton Doyle 0-4 with 2 strikeouts. Jake Cave, no hits. Stallings, no hits. And then Toglia with the home run there. Nolan Jones had a base hit. And then Hunter Goodman and Sam Hilliard, all a lack of hits. 28 plate appearances for the Rockies today, 3 hits. I mean, that is tough. They had more walks than they had hits. And I don't even know if that's a good thing. because like the walk, like maybe you can get a runner in scoring position, sacrifice fly, runner on, on second, whatever it might be. And they just cannot manufacture runs on a consistent basis. And like I said, they were able to kind of do it last night, get 6 runs across the plate, and the bullpen almost blows it. And so it's just like you are walking on eggshells every single game if you're the Rockies right now. And it's not a good way to be. And look, you just have to weather it. Nothing is going to change. Like I don't just expect these guys to wake up one day and start playing better baseball all of a sudden. Like this is what it is going to be likely for the rest of the way. And it might even get worse when we get to that dog day portion of the season. I'm talking late August, post trade deadline, September, when you can see the light approaching at the end of the tunnel, but you still got to play these games. So you kind of just go through the motions. That's what it feels like with this Rockies club sometimes. And I've talked about how, these guys care, they have energy, they have passion, but when you're losing these games in just non-competitive fashion, it's just hard to get excited about, how you're going to try to build yourself back up. And I think that was the major theme of, it wasn't a major theme, but it was something that I had talked about yesterday of the Rockies just consistently build themselves up to be torn down. That's what's happening with this club. And so, I think today is unfortunately yet another example of just how bad things have been and how bad and lifeless their offense is, even when their pitching staff isn't awful. Like if on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is like bad for the Rockies pitching, there's probably like a 4 today, 5. And a majority of that is because of Molina, but they weren't detrimental, until the very end there with Anthony Molina in the 8th inning. But, for the first 2/3 of this ballgame, the pitching staff did their job, or at least did it in a way that was, I don't even want to say respectable, but like passing, like good enough for the Rockies. You'll take that if you're the Rockies, just knowing how things have been, for the last handful of seasons. So disappointing, only 3 hits for the Rocks today. All right, let's hit a quick break. Wow, man, these shows just fly by already. And when we come back, let's take a look at what's coming up for the Rockies this weekend, a weekend series with the New York Mets. And we'll get you guys out of here on a Thursday installment of your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro, back in just a few minutes. All right, let me tell you about our friends over at Bookit.com. This episode of the Locked On Rockies postcast is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. And with summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. So we're talking about San Diego. We're talking about San Francisco. We're talking about Los Angeles. We're talking about Phoenix. Because with hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. So here's an example, right? Like you maybe want to go to Chavez Ravine. You want to go out to Los Angeles. You want to go down to San Francisco, right? You're going to go into enemy territory. With our friends over at Booking.com, you're going to be able to find the perfect place for your accommodations on your vacation in your rival's city, guys. So be sure to check them out, Booking.com. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the United States for your summer travel this Major League Baseball season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. Be sure to check them out, Booking.com, Booking.yeah. And let me also tell you about our friends from Game Time, because if you're going to games this season, there is no reason why you should not be using our Game Time app, guys, because I love going to Major League Baseball games. They're the best, and I get all my tickets through Game Time because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, and with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. And there's a number of features I got to tell you about. Their last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and all that good stuff. They also got flash deals where you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. There's also zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats for you. Plus, you can toggle into their all-in pricing feature, as that shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with their seat view in the app, and their lowest ticket price guarantee or Game Time will credit you not 100%, not 105%, 110% of the difference with the Game Time lowest ticket price guarantee. Plus, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry with our friends over at Game Time. So go ahead and take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Again, the code to use, Locked On MLB, for $20 off your first purchase at Game Time. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. Disappointing game for the Rockies tonight, or this afternoon, rather, I should say. It was an early one, it was an 11-10 for, what was it, 8? The heck am I thinking about? 8. How did that even come into my head? 11-10 first pitch. I'm like blown away by that. Maybe it's because it's hot in my apartment right now. 8 from the amount of runs that the Reds scored. That's how I got it. 8-1 is the final score. Rockies dropped to 33-61 on the season. Cincinnati improves to 45-49 on the year as well. So we talked about Gomber. We talked about the bullpen. We talked about the lineup. And just some closing thoughts on that front before we take a look ahead to this Mets series this weekend. Buckle up. Buckle up, folks, because this is not going to change. They're not going anywhere. This is going to be the likely outcome for a majority of these games the rest of the way. As the pitching is just bad. They have maybe one or two guys in the rotation that are legitimate starting pitchers in the sport. The lineup is thrown together on a whim, it seems like, every day, with some nice, young, exciting players and then some journeymen. I mean, there's just no continuity with this team right now. Maybe there's some friendships and some camaraderie in the clubhouse, but the continuity of production on the field has just been absent, really, since the month of May on a consistent basis. So what did I just do? Just zoomed in all the way on my face. That confused me. So we'll see. Hopefully they're going to be able to bounce back into this series against the Mets. The Mets, weren't too far off from where the Rockies were about a month ago. And now they find themselves, I believe a half game back of a wild card spot after the phenomenal month of June that they had. But taking a look at it, it'll be, I don't even think I've seen Tanner Gordon. I didn't even know there was a person named Tanner Gordon on the Rockies, to be honest with you. Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, I watch these games, I talk about him, like, Tanner Gordon, my man. Good luck. First time I'm hearing of you. He's 0-1 with a 7.11 ERA. He'll take on Sean Manaea for Friday's game at Citi Field. The Mets are 47-45, 2 games above 500, and that is a 5-10 first pitch. We've got an afternoon game on Saturday as well. Ryan Feltner taking on Christian Scott. Feltner's 1-8 with a 5.29 ERA and 84 strikeouts. And then the Battle of the Qs on Sunday as, let's see here, it'll be Cal Quantrill taking on a Jose Quintana. Quantrill 6-7 with a 4.13 ERA, 78 strikeouts. Quintana 4-5 with a 3.91 ERA and 70 strikeouts. And that'll take us to the All-Star break, folks. The Rockies won't play another game until the 19th of July. So a few games off for the Rockies in that, or a few days off, rather, I should say, even though it feels like sometimes I take some games off. But they're going to get a little bit of a pause. So let's see, can they figure out a way to win 2 to 3 against the Mets this weekend and at least make themselves feel somewhat good? I mean, the worst thing that could happen is a sweep, and I don't think that's out of the equation. But they'll probably win 1 and lose 2. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes with this Rockies club, at this moment. So we'll see what happens here with this Rockies team. But it has not been good, and today was not good with an 8-1 loss to the Cincinnati Reds, falling to 33-61 on the season. Gomber, not great. Bullpen, bad as usual. Offense, lifeless. That's pretty much all you need to know about what went down on the baseball diamond today for the Rockies. So they lose the series 3 games. They won 1, they lose 3. Had an opportunity at least for a split in a couple of these games, it seemed like. So it's tough, man. They had a 3-game winning streak, entering, coming out of the weekend, or I guess they lost on Sunday, but they had won Thursday, Friday, Saturday, lose Sunday, lose Monday, lose Tuesday, barely win Wednesday, and now you lose again here on Thursday. So that is where we were at on this Rockies season and on this show. But that's going to do it for me, folks. Make sure to subscribe to your Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of the Locked On Rockies POSTCAST. And be sure to check me out on social media at Media by AP, firing off some tweets about the Rockies, firing off some tweets about the Denver sports scene and all that good stuff as well. But appreciate you guys as always. Enjoy your Thursday, enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back at it again mañana with a Friday installment episode of the Locked On Rockies POSTCAST. Hopefully a victory show as the Rockies try to get back on track after losing today 8-1 to the Cincinnati Reds. Have a good one, folks.